recorded a video you'll see coming up. I just wanted to insert this little pre-video video. I'm in a place where we're moving to here in Tennessee, and it's echoey. It's a new home, and we've got about half of what we own here. The rest will be here in a month and a half. So it's a little echoey. I apologize for that. It's not my normal camera. I apologize for that. So it might not look like the normal video that I do, but just hang in for a minute or two. We'll get on with the video, and when I get back home and when I get here permanently, it'll sound better and look better. But I apologize for any of the mess that's around. I think I have a camera bag on the floor and all sorts of stuff, but if any of you have moved, you know what it's like. And thank you for taking some time to be here, and we'll get on with the video. Thank you. Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for taking some time and checking things out here on the channel. I'm in Tennessee. We're moving to Tennessee and in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. And previously I did a video on Basement Records, which is real close to where I live, actually between where I'm going to live and downtown Knoxville. And I stopped in there yesterday, said hello, great people, really good jazz selection, and bought a couple records. And today I checked out a new record store in Knoxville called Wild Honey Records. There's, I think, 3 or 4 different record stores in this area. I've only been to Basement because they're close and they're good. And I checked Wild Honey Records out. I'll talk a little bit about them when I get to some of the records. But I just thought I'd show you some of the stuff that I was really surprised to find, you know, here in the Knoxville area. So I know we're in the middle of this Phil Woods, so I just did a video on Phil Woods. I'm going to do another one when I get back to the Pacific Northwest in the middle of next week, toward the end of this coming week. So I'll pick it up. But I just want to show you all some of the stuff that I picked up. You know, I have a copy of this before, but I found in Basement Records a really clean copy of Phil Woods' music on Muse. It's a really clean copy, and it was only $5. So good buy. I have to redo these in some better sleeves, but goodbye, Phil Woods. This is a good record. This was done shortly after Phil got back from Europe, and I think I talked about this in the past video, and if I didn't, I'm going to talk about it. It's really an interesting record. Phil wasn't real happy with this. He thought it was okay, but he thought it could have been better. But it is one of Phil's better records. Jackie Byrd and Alan Dawson and Richard Davis was on this. Music du Bois, Phil Woods. Another great little pickup I found yesterday. I'm going to pull this out of the sleeve because it may be too reflective, and I want to show you the cover. It's a 2-record set of a reissue of Lenny Tristano from 2 series that he did back. I think these were done in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, one was done in the 50s and the other one might have been done in the 60s. But they're quite old. Done in New York. In 2 different sessions. Some great players are on this. But what's interesting is I'm a photographer, and Jay Maisel did the cover on this. Jay, M-A-I-S-E-L. Great photographer. If you want to look him up, some great stuff. One of our great photographers. But Lenny Tristano, and it's on the Atlantic Atco label. Atco bought Atlantic. This is a later pressing. But I haven't seen this at all before, and I really like Lenny Tristano's playing. Great player. Complete in a specially priced 2 LP set, and celebrated in long out-of-print Atlantic recordings of a jazz giant. Now that I think about it, these are back in the 50s, maybe early 60s, but sorry, Lenny Tristano. If you don't know about Lenny, check him out. He's really an interesting player, person and a good player. Another Muse record, interesting record, good record. And it features Pepper Adams, again on the Muse record label, with Roland Hanna, Billy Hart, a great drummer, and George Mraz. This was recorded back in 1978. All those guys, Hanna, Hart, and Mraz, I think at that time were playing with Pepper in the Mellow Stat Jones Jazz Orchestra. But on Muse Records, really, really done well. It's a great recording, a good record. Pepper Adams is really a good player and an overlooked player, I think. Baritone sax. So today I took a ride over into Knoxville, and Wild Honey Records has two stores, one in Knoxville and one in Oak Ridge. They're about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes apart. And the first stop was in Knoxville, and really a nice little store. The fellow that was working there today, Houston, works on weekends, couldn't be nicer. Really just a great help. It was really fun being there. It's the first time I've been in there, so he pointed me to the jazz section, and it was a nice little jazz section. Said it was probably maybe about 200 records there, maybe, and some really nice stuff. And I'll show you some of the stuff I picked up. This is a copy of a very famous recording that the MJQ did called The Sheriff on Atlantic. And this, of course, is the original Atlantic. It's a really heavy vinyl record. It is in stereo and in really good shape. And this, I think, was $15. Of course, I think I'll show you another Atlantic here. We all know the stereo in the 60s label was blue and green with the white cross with the black A and the Atlantic symbol. But really a great find, in good shape, really nice record. I didn't have this, I don't have this, but I do now. Looking forward to hearing it when I get back to Tennessee. I'm not schlepping these back to the Pacific Northwest and then bringing them back here. I'm going to leave these here and they'll be here when I get here. Another nice little find for $8 was a record by Benny Carter and the Orchestra. This was unfortunately digitally remastered from the original stereo master tapes on MCA Impulse. So I'm not real, music's going to be great. I'm not anticipating this to be certainly an audiophile recording, especially since it's been digitally remastered and an MCA version, which is usually nowhere near as good as the original Impulse sound. But great players, Coleman Hawkins, Joe Jones, Charlie Rouse, the Cats, Jimmy Garrison on bass, and of course Phil Woods on alto. I like Benny Carter, and I like the rest of the musicians in this. I don't know about this record, but for $8, I'll give it a good listen. Here's a real find. I was really happy to find this. Bill Hardin on Muse. This is redone. This was done in 1978, 79. And even though this is on Muse, it was recorded at Van Gelder's in Englewood. In fact, on the dead wax, the Van Gelder stamp is on this record. It was a cutout in whatever store it was purchased in. But Muse Records, really good quality sounding records, good recordings. Junior Cook on tenor, Bill Hardin, of course, very overlooked trumpet player. We'll talk about Bill Hardin when I do my trumpet video. Slide Hampton, trombone, Mickey Tucker on piano, Victor Jones on drums, and someone named Shin Suzuki on bass. Interesting. I wonder who that is. But at any rate, Bill Hardin, very, very underappreciated trumpet player. Speaking of Bill Hardin, they also had another Bill Hardin. This is a newer record on Steeplechase. Steeplechase, another really good record label. If you find Steeplechase records, they all sound good. It's a European label, I believe, from Holland. We have Dexter Gordon, we have some other great Horace Parla, some great European talent, plus Americans who moved there, recorded on here. And Bill Hardin was one, again with Junior Cook, Robin Eubanks on trombone, Mickey Tucker on piano, Paul Brown and Leroy Williams in the rhythm section. And from 1989 on the Steeplechase label, Bill Hardin and Sextet. Really, really great underappreciated player. I think this was $12. Great buy. Here's a great record. Art Farmer Quintet, and the quintet consists of Steve Swallow, Steve Kuhn, and I can't remember. I think Pete LaRocque is the drummer on this. On Atlantic, and of course this is in mono. What a nice piece of vinyl. It's the original mono in good shape. We know it's mono because of the orange and purple label, of course. In really, really good shape. I looked at this before I bought it because it was a $25 record, and well worth the money. This is a great, great record. Sing Me Softly of the Blues on Atlantic. On Discogs, they put this sticker on here. It says it plays on stereo. Back in the day, you know, it was people had to be told that, but I couldn't find this sticker in all the Discogs stuff, but I'm really anxious to hear this. It's in really good shape. Art Farmer, another underappreciated trumpet and flugelhorn player. Here's an interesting record. I'd never seen this before. It's a sealed copy, and it's Art Pepper. And it was recorded in New York. There's a session in New York and a session in LA from 1979. I think this was released in 1980. This is called So in Love, with Hank Jones, Ron Carter, and Al Foster in New York, and George Cables and Charlie Hayden again, and Billy Higgins in LA. So I'm anxious to see this. It's a promotional copy. It says there's an 8-page booklet in here with art and photography, transcribed solos, what have you, but it's a sealed copy, so I'm not going to open it till I see it. It's on a label called Artist House Records that I don't know a whole lot about. If anybody does, I'd love to hear about it. But Art Pepper, so I'm anxious to see what this sounds like. What a great record this is. Sonny Rollins, Alfie, with Oliver Nelson. Now, again, this is a promotional copy. This is a reissue. This was reissued, I think back around 1990 or so on Impulse. It's not the original. I'd be curious to how this sounds. I have this on CD at home, but it's a very kind of a thin vinyl. I bet it's 100-gram vinyl. But again, great players on here. I believe Phil Woods might be on here as well. I think Frankie Dunlop, Kenny Burrell is on this. J.J. Johnson's on this, Roger Kellaway's on this, and some other great players. But it's a great Sonny Rollins record. Really, really great record. Music from the original score, Alfie. Find this somewhere. It's right up there. I didn't have this Tone Poet. It's sealed. It's not been opened. And it's from 2019, a Donald Byrd chant. It's a really good record. Of course, Pepper Adams is on this too. Detroit folks, Pepper Adams and Donald Byrd. Herbie Hancock, Doug Watkins, and Teddy Robinson on drums. I don't know his playing, but this is really pretty hard to find. I don't think it's been repressed, but it's the Tone Poet from 2019 in the Tone Poet series. This was for $32, so it's pretty good value on these. It's I haven't seen it repressed yet. I like Keith Jarrett. I have a lot of Keith Jarrett at home, and I found a Keith Jarrett record on Vortex Records. I don't know a whole lot about them other than I think they were a division of Atco, which is a division of Atlantic somehow, with Hayden and Paul Modian. Back in 1978, very clean tip-on jacket, and of course the Vortex label. It ought to look pretty cool as it spins around on the turntable. Vortex Records, Keith Jarrett. This is when Keith Jarrett was starting to get well known prior to going to ECM trio. One of the highlights, and this is the last thing I found, Woody Shaw. The only thing that I'm not happy about this record is that it's on Electro Musician. I don't know how it's going to sound. I hope it sounds good. Great players on here. Margaret Miller's on the Steeplechase. It's just a great record. I've heard this I've heard this online and on my internet radio. A really nice Woody Shaw record, and I was happy to find this. It's again for $10. It was a good buy, and it's in near mint condition. Whoever had this had it in kind of a lo-fi sleeve. So when you get people who put the records in those kind of sleeves, typically they take care of them, not all the time. But anyhow, that's some of the stuff I found here in Knoxville today at Wild Honey Records, and yesterday at Basement Records. So I'm looking forward next trip to check out the other stores, see what's there, and again, thank you all for listening. If you like this little video, subscribe, click, do all the stuff that everybody asks you to do. It helps the algorithms. And thank you for being here. And we'll see you again in a couple days. Bye-bye.